Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is about to test this major area of resistance, getting closer towards a possible all-time high breakout, as I'm still currently in a $300,000 Bitcoin long position. So in just a moment, I'll be sharing with you exactly how I'm planning to make a lot of profit from the next Bitcoin move happening very soon. So definitely pay attention to this. While the Bitcoin dominance is seeing a major breakdown below a key area on the price chart, which is massive news for the altcoin market, especially Ethereum right now exploding towards my $5,000 price target, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Solana now starting to attempt to break out above this very critical area on the price chart. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And of course, on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a major bearish divergence to watch out for, with higher highs confirmed in the price of Bitcoin and lower highs confirmed in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. And of course, the last time this happened was between these two highs right here, and what came after that was, of course, a major pullback over the next multiple months. Obviously, this is not a short-term signal, but when we're talking about maybe later this month, more likely say September or October, we'll likely see the effects of this bearish divergence start playing out over the next couple of months or so. And it is possible that maybe in the immediate short term, we might even see a slight little all-time high breakout here, maybe pushing a little bit higher. But once again, at least for now on the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, we're still currently lacking momentum to either direction. So not overly bullish or overly bearish, at least for now, which means if we do end up breaking the all-time high, maybe we push a little bit higher, like 125, 130, something like that, for example. But I'd not necessarily expect to move, like, for example, up to 200K, at least not right now, because like I said, once again, we still have a bearish divergence to watch out for when we're talking about the next couple of months. But in the shorter term, we're still looking good here, still currently about to test this major area of resistance. And we're already basically testing the area of resistance sitting in between around 120,000 towards around 123,000 as a major area of resistance there, built around this Fibonacci extension level sitting at around 121,500. And so obviously, like I said, all the way back here, expect the price to struggle a lot in this area on the price chart. And so far, that's exactly what we've seen over the last multiple weeks here. So obviously, it is still possible we could perhaps see another rejection here. So keep that in mind. We've not yet confirmed a breakout, but of course, if we confirm ideally daily candle closes above 121, 122K, and especially if we use that as new support in that situation, essentially we're now looking at an all-time high breakout, and I'll be targeting at least around 125 to 130K as the next target range for Bitcoin. But remember, we're still currently focusing on this area of resistance, which we're only just running into as of recording this video. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 8-hour Bitcoin price chart, it's clear that at least the short-term trends, the short-term price structure is still currently bullish. We're still forming higher lows and higher highs, despite seeing little pullbacks along the way during this short-term bullish trend. And so based on all of this information, of course, my trading strategy for pretty much the last 1 week or so has been to long the price of Bitcoin, bet on more bullish price action over the last 1 week. Since basically this point right here moving forward, I've been long on the price of Bitcoin, and obviously since then we have seen more bullish price action as expected. And since that point when I first entered the long position, I added a lot to the long position right here on this slight little pullback here, and then I took a lot of profits out of that long position right here due to the fact that we're running into this significant level of resistance here, most likely pointing towards a bit of a short-term pullback, which ultimately did play out. And then, as I shared in my last video, I once again added to that long position. So at this point right here, it was around a $200,000 long position after taking a lot of profits right there. And then in my last video, I mentioned right here, I added to that position, bringing it back up towards around a $350,000 long position. And so giving you an update right now on my current Bitcoin long position, this is now roughly a $300,000 Bitcoin long position. So just recently, I took a small amount of profits off the table, just slightly reducing the size of the trade, considering the fact that we are now once again testing this major area of resistance. And of course, this is exactly what I've been saying I'd be doing this entire time here. I've been saying I'm focusing on this major area of resistance to take profits. And then if, for example, we see a decent little pullback like this, I'll use that as an opportunity to add to the long position, considering at least for now, we're still playing out bullish price structure, higher lows and higher highs in a short-term bullish trend. Once again, I've been saying that basically for the last 1 week or so, and you can see the proof right here in my long position. I've now secured over $25,000 in realized profits, USD realized profits in less than a week here, and currently unrealized profits about 7 to 8,000. And also over the last one day, I slightly moved my stop loss slightly a little bit further into profits, as we can see right here. So even in the worst case scenario here, once again, I've already secured over $25,000 in profits, and then that stop loss there in the worst case scenario would close the rest of this trade at around a $1,500 profit on top of that $25,000 in already secured profits. But my trading strategy moving forward for this position right here is to simply just keep holding the long position, remain long on the price of Bitcoin, considering at least for now, we're still technically playing out short-term bullish price structure. There's no reason, at least for now, to fully close that long position. And so, like I said earlier, it is possible we could see an all-time high breakout here, which is another reason as to why I still have some of this long position still open once again, and also why I added to this long position at around 118 to 119,000 right here. But then perhaps if the price of Bitcoin retests this high right here at give or take 122,000, I may just slightly reduce the size of the trade again, taking a little bit of profits off the table, not closing the entire trade, but essentially once again just looking towards key points of resistance to just take some profits here and there in case we see these sort of pullbacks or rejections from resistance. And then if we end up seeing some sort of pullback like this again, I'll just potentially use that as another buying opportunity to add to the long position. And so that is my exact Bitcoin trading strategy, being very transparent with you exactly how I'm making money in this crypto market and what I'm planning to do next, depending on what the price of Bitcoin is doing. But overall, once again, still long on Bitcoin, still bullish, at least in the short term. And of course, if you want to take trades just like this for yourself to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on BTNX. So I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, you can get some massive trading and deposit bonuses that are only available using that link. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX as an exchange, there's also Pionex as another exchange out there that I also use. So I will also make sure to leave a link to Pionex below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading and deposit bonuses. For example, if you simply just make an account using that link below this video to Pionex and complete KYC, you get a $50 bonus into your Pionex account. And also there's some major deposit bonuses here. For example, if you deposit just $100, you get a 100 USDT deposit bonus into your Pionex account, free money from the exchange. And also if you deposit just $10,000, you get a $1,000 bonus into your Pionex account. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, that second link below this video will take you to this page over on Pionex, where you can claim these major trading and deposit bonuses simply just by making an account and making some deposits using that link below this video. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, like what I'm doing right now, definitely check out these exchanges, first and second link below this video, to take advantage of these major bonuses here. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, right now we have already taken out this liquidity at around 121,000, give or take. But of course, we're heading towards this area of liquidity, still sitting at around 123,000 approximately, like I talked about in my last video. And so that's exactly why I said yesterday in my last video, after this little pullback here, I said right here is the area to actually buy Bitcoin or add to a long position, which is exactly what I did. As always, I follow my own strategies here with my own money, putting my money where my mouth is. And obviously already it's working out quite well as I've recorded this video. And so this is why, once again, I'm still long on the price of Bitcoin. We still have bullish price targets to watch out for. And not only am I long on the price of Bitcoin on BTNX, I actually currently have a long position trading bot strategy active over on my Pionex account. And this is basically passive income, passive trading. It's not so much active trading. And so based on my current grid bot trading strategy, once again, as you can see right here, it's already bringing in well over $1,000 in easy passive profits. Basically with me doing nothing, it's just automatically printing money for me. And you can actually see the transactions here and also the orders here. So for example, you simply just place some money into the trading bot. And then if the price of Bitcoin drops to lower prices, prices, the trading bot automatically buys Bitcoin at each of these lower prices here. And then if the price bounces back towards the upside, hits these higher price targets here, the trading bot automatically sells the Bitcoin at these higher prices. And so basically I'll just put in a price range. So for example, right here in between around 94,000 to 142,000. And then as long as the price basically just bounces around wherever within that range right there, I'm printing easy passive profits from this automated trading bot. And so yes, of course, I'll leave a link to this trading bot in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you actually click that link below this video, you can actually copy this trading bot if you want to simply just copy my trading strategy here in this trading bot. But as always, know the risks involved. Yes, you can actually lose money as well as making money from this trading bot. For example, if it crashes below, let's just say 94,000, that is a possible risk to consider. But considering this is a futures bot in the long direction, in the bullish direction, for as long as, of course, you're bullish on Bitcoin here, then it's very likely this will continue making profits. But you can only copy this trading bot here if you actually use that link below this video to Pinex to actually sign up, making an account using my link. If you don't use my link, unfortunately, you will not be able to copy my trading bot. So definitely, once again, check out Pinex, link below, if you want to take advantage of these major passive profits here. Very easy profits that I'm making right now, which you can see very transparently looking at my exact transactions. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the 3-day time frame, right now the Bitcoin dominance is seeing a major dump below this very important area of support, sitting in between around 60.5% to 61% in the Bitcoin dominance. So obviously, as this is happening in the Bitcoin dominance, this is very bullish, very good news for the altcoin market. And so in other words, right now we're actually experiencing more of just an Ethereum season, not so much a massive altcoin season. But in my opinion, for as long as this continues here, ultimately we'll continue to see a larger altcoin season, considering this essentially means Bitcoin is losing dominance and the rest of the altcoin market is gaining market share versus Bitcoin. And I want to make it clear, this is not necessarily bearish for the price of Bitcoin. For example, the Bitcoin price can still be very bullish, as we're seeing right now, even while the Bitcoin dominance is dumping. What this means is just the altcoins, especially Ethereum, but a lot of other altcoins are simply looking more bullish than whatever Bitcoin is doing while we're seeing a dump in the Bitcoin dominance. And so once again, if you're an altcoin holder or an altcoin trader, as I've been saying for a long time, definitely keep an eye on what the Bitcoin dominance is doing, because while this is happening, that's very good news for the altcoin market. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum, we can see that right now in the price of ETH. And obviously over the last 1 week or so, Ethereum has had a major breakout above a very important area on the price chart, which was sitting in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. And obviously, I've been saying many times here on the channel over the last 1 to 2 weeks since before we saw this breakout here, I've been saying if we confirm the breakout above 4.1k with a candle close above 4.1k, which we've already now seen, I said if that happens, expect a massive continuation in that breakout, a massive bullish move towards the higher $4,000 area, like 4.8k, 4.9k, basically the all-time high level for Ethereum. And honestly, the next major price target is simply $5,000, which would obviously be an all-time high breakout for Ethereum. And so it's very likely that we're essentially about to test the all-time high once again in that higher $4,000 area, just underneath 5,000. And it is possible maybe we find a little bit of resistance around the previous all-time high, roughly around this area on the price chart. So keep that in mind. The price may end up seeing maybe a little bit of a break in the shorter term, but overall, when we're looking at the larger price structure or the larger momentum or the trend on the larger timeframes, we're still very much bullish, as we can see right here. Even if we see a little pullback along the way, that does not necessarily change the larger bullish move. And so as always, understand the difference between the different time frames. Even if we perhaps have a possible warning signal on a slightly smaller time frame, that does not change the larger trends that we're currently in. And speaking about a possible warning signal, looking at the daily Ethereum price chart, we're still just possibly forming a bearish divergence, which is not currently confirmed. I want to make that clear. So yes, we do have higher highs in the price already confirmed, but we're still just possibly forming these lower highs in the daily Ethereum RSI. And so obviously this is just something to pay attention to, as it is possibly forming in case it ultimately confirms later on, maybe in the coming days or possibly weeks here. And of course, if it confirms, like what we saw last time, we'd likely just see a little bit of a short-term pullback, maybe even just a sideways consolidation, essentially cooling off a little bit, maybe for 1 or 2 weeks after all of this bullish price action here. Once again, if it confirms, it's not currently confirmed, but that would be the likely outcome if it were to confirm. And of course, if that is happening, that does not necessarily change the larger trend. Once again, it is possible to see little cool-offs and things like that along the way during a much larger bullish trend. So overall, on the larger timeframes, I'm still targeting these higher price targets here, closer towards $5,000 plus. And if we're taking a quick look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, ETH BTC on the daily time frame, right now we're also possibly forming a bearish divergence, so it's something to pay attention to, but not currently confirmed. So yes, we have confirmed higher highs in the price in ETH BTC, but we're still just possibly forming lower highs in the daily RSI. And unlike the ETH USD, Ethereum versus the US dollar chart, the ETH BTC, Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, if this confirms here on the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, what that means is essentially Ethereum would be underperforming versus Bitcoin. So Bitcoin would be performing a bit better than whatever Ethereum is doing if this bearish divergence on this chart actually confirms. But once again, when it comes to the altcoin market, especially when we're looking at altcoins versus Bitcoin, definitely keep an eye on what the Bitcoin dominance is doing, because while this is looking like this, having a major break to the downside, it's unlikely we'll see much bearish price action on the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart. For example, it's likely this would remain bullish if the Bitcoin dominance remains bearish. Obviously, if the Bitcoin dominance has a bounce like this, while that bounce is playing out, we'll likely see a bit of a short-term pullback for ETH BTC as we did right here. But for now, once again, overall things are looking very bullish for Ethereum and a lot of the altcoin market, really the overall crypto market. While Bitcoin is bullish and while the Bitcoin dominance is dumping, this is very bullish for the overall crypto market. And we're seeing this right now in Solana, as Solana is now finally testing and possibly starting to break out above this very important area of resistance, sitting in between around 190 to 200. And as of recording this video, the price of Solana is already trading slightly above 200, but we've not yet technically confirmed the breakout. Ideally, we need to see at least a daily candle close, ideally a 2-day candle close, considering this is on the 2-day time frame, above $200. And then of course, we need to hold above this area. So if, for example, we see a slight little pullback, we need to hold above this area as new support in order to actually properly confirm the breakout here and keep the breakout valid. And so if we see those confirmation signals confirming this bullish breakout here, in that situation, the next major price target for Solana towards the upside is sitting at around $230 as the next price target. So for example, measuring from roughly 200, give or take, close to the current price as of recording this video, towards around $230, that's around a 14 to 15% move towards the upside with no leverage. Or for example, a 10x leverage long position would be roughly 150% profit in that example. And considering we've not really seen a major run for Solana, at least compared to the run in Ethereum, it is possible that maybe if Ethereum starts to stall a little bit at some point in the coming days, while Solana maybe confirms this breakout here, it's possible that some traders might rotate their Ethereum profits into some other major altcoins like Solana, maybe pushing towards these next price targets here. So keep that in mind, and especially if the Bitcoin dominance remains bearish. Once again, definitely keep an eye on what this is doing. If this remains bearish, it's likely that altcoins will continue to play out some bullish price action. And as for support to watch out for, I would now expect some support in between around 190 to 200, and more support at around 180, and more support at around 167. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, at least for now, we technically still have a bearish divergence to watch out for, considering we have already confirmed higher highs in the price in the candle closes, and we've already technically confirmed lower highs in the weekly XRP RSI. And so technically speaking, this means that over the next couple of months or so, especially for example September, maybe October, it's likely we could see maybe a larger pullback or a larger slowdown of some sort in the price of XRP on these larger timeframes. Once again, not a short-term signal, but if we're zooming slightly into the short term, looking at the daily time frame, we can see right now in the immediate short term just here, the price is obviously bouncing while the Bitcoin dominance is dumping. As I always say, if the Bitcoin dominance is dumping, especially while the price of Bitcoin and other top altcoins are looking bullish, expect a lot of bullish price action for a lot of the altcoin market, XRP included. And so like I've been saying, it's likely that XRP will retest this area of resistance very soon, in between around $3.35 to $3.40 as the area of resistance to watch out for. And if we actually break out above $3.40 with confirmation, so candle closes confirming above $3.40, in that situation, we'll likely see a test of around the all-time high at around $3.50 to $3.60 as the next area of resistance. And XRP needs to break out at least above around around 350 to 360 in order to actually break this possible bearish price structure that has already been forming for some time. Because, for example, if we're looking at this price structure on the larger timeframes here compared to what we saw back here, the larger price structure, not the short-term moves, but the larger price structure is still looking quite similar to what we saw near the beginning of this year, around January entering into February this year. And so once again, what would invalidate that possible larger bearish price structure, which is already forming, would be a breakout above this high right here, ideally above around 350 to 360, to actually finally flip the price structure back into the bullish direction on these larger timeframes here, the larger price structure. But once again, just in the immediate short term, I do expect a little bit more of a short-term bullish move to test this area of resistance, as I've already been saying here on the channel. And in terms of support, expect a lot of support in between 310 to 315 and a lot of support at around $2.90. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, Chainlink is now starting to struggle at the precise level that I've been targeting this entire time since we've seen the breakout above around $20 to $21. Obviously, from that point onwards, I've been saying I am now targeting $24. And even before we saw the breakout, I said if we break out above $20 to $21, expect a continued bullish move towards roughly $24, and then expect the price to potentially struggle around that area on the price chart. And obviously that's now exactly playing out as I've been saying since before this previous breakout. And so overall, expect a lot of support in this area based on previous resistance flipping into new support, sitting in between around $20 to $21, and that's already proven as support, especially $21. And as for resistance, once again, continue to expect a lot of resistance at roughly $24, but really in between $24 to $25 and as an area of resistance. But if we break through that area of resistance and ultimately continue this larger bullish trend further towards the upside, the next target would be this previous high right here, which is sitting at just underneath $27. So around $26.60 to $27 would be the next price target if we first break through this level at just above $24. And then of course, if we break through around $27, the next major target would be roughly $30 per Chainlink, and that is a very significant level on the price chart. But for now, once again, the immediate resistance to watch out for is just above $24, more specifically around $24.40. So really in between around $24 to $25 as the immediate area of resistance to watch out for. But remember, even if we see a little bit of a short-term struggle here, it is still technically within a larger bullish trend, forming higher highs and higher lows, as we could see. And if we're taking a look at this daily Chainlink price chart, we also have a possible bearish divergence forming right now, but not currently confirmed. I want to make that clear, but we have confirmed higher highs in the price, but once again, not yet confirmed, still just possibly forming lower highs in the daily Chainlink RSI. And so if we actually confirm this lower high in place in the daily Chainlink RSI, so in other words, if we start to struggle around a certain point of resistance and basically hesitate with a breakout, maybe see a slight little rejection, that could confirm the lower high in place in the RSI, maybe in the coming days or weeks at some point. And then if that confirms here, once again, would likely see a bit of a cool off, maybe a pullback for Chainlink that could last maybe a week or two, for example, based on this bearish divergence on the daily time frame, but not necessarily ending the larger bullish trend. A bearish divergence is not always a trend reversal signal. Sometimes it can be like what we saw back here, but not always. So for example, the larger trend, at least for now, is still currently bullish. We're just running into some resistance which we need to pay attention to. But overall, those are my expectations and the key levels to watch out for Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoin market. And of course, if you want to take trades just like this to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, definitely check out the links below this video to this exchange and also this exchange to my trading bot currently active right now. Once again, first and second link below this video. And in case you're wondering, if you want to actually know how you can take these trades for yourself to make a lot of profits in the crypto market, make sure to check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.